Brian Sexton, Mike Dempsey, JP Shadrick, and Austen Lane will get you ready for a kickoff.
Now he's going to try and run it in. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. He got up. Trevor Lawrence ran it in.
The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by the University of Florida, Whataburger, Farah and Farah, and by Everbank. The Publix Tailgate Show starts right now.
Good morning and welcome to the Publix Tailgate Show from the Hyundai Studios inside the Miller Electric Center in Jacksonville. I am Brian Sexton, joined by Mike Dempsey. Say hello, Mike.
Good morning.
And Austen Lane.
Good morning.
Hello, Austen. How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
We got a lot to talk about. Just running through some quick headlines, right? About responding to last Sunday. Trevor playing free was a big one this week. Where was the pass rush? A huge topic of conversation. And, of course, this week starters are down, yet more starters are going to miss today's game. The big one that we thought might come back, Brenton Strange, not going to be active today. He was declared out on Friday. Let's just put in perspective. You just mentioned as you came in, a bit chaotic out there today, right? You've got a Florida basketball game tonight against Miami. You've got the fair in its final day downtown. And then you've got, an NFL football game. So there's a little chaos going on around us. It kind of felt for a time early this week like there was going to be some chaos. Just coming off of a 19-point, I don't know how you call it that. You blew a 19-point lead.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of chaos this week. I mean, there is in terms of players who aren't going to play and how you put those things together. But I thought it was a calm place to be for a team that was really stung last Sunday.
I don't know how you deal with what they did and put it behind them. You're a professional athlete, Austen. You have to do it on a weekly basis. I don't think it's that easy. I mean, it's certainly not easy for the media and the fan base to get over something that happened, the collapse that happened in the fourth quarter last week, but you got to put it behind you. You're sitting there in the 7th spot in the AFC playoff picture. You've got a chance to get another head-to-head tiebreaker over a team you're competing with for a playoff spot today. You can't afford to let it get you down.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about NFL players, it's all about play next play, right? And I think that's kind of been the MO this entire season with Liam Cohen. Whether it's been good or whether it's been bad, you're on to the next one. And you even heard that going into the Houston Texans game where these players didn't let last year and Trevor Lawrence getting hit really affect them, it seemed like. So they're playing the next play. I think that's a great way to be, but at the same time, that loss has to stick with them. Because if it doesn't, then something's up with you, right? Like, you literally let that game get away from you. And I think I'm all for playing next play, but I'm also using the past as a little motivation. And this team's got to use that past and say, listen, we surrendered that lead in the fourth quarter. We didn't get home like we were supposed to on the defense. We got to do better today.
So we're going to spend some time on that right here in the first segment of the Publix Tailgate Show. Let's hear first from the coach. I thought this was a big week for him. He talked all offseason about, FAST, his an acronym for how he wanted his team to play. And let's be honest, I mean, this was a team last year that lost 9 games in the fourth quarter where it was within one score. And until last week, they were 4-1 in one-score games in the fourth quarter. He had made a transition early on this year with his football team. So I thought this week was really going to be on his shoulders to shape this team the way he wants to mentally. Here was his perspective on Wednesday.
We do need to respond.
And apparently that is not going out. So, talk amongst yourselves for a moment while I restart this.
All right, well, what do you do? What's the message you want to hear as a player from a head coach coming off a game like that?
I mean, as a player, especially on defense, right, where you really surrendered, 19 points in the fourth quarter? Like, when that happens, you already know that you messed up, right? So there's nothing really a coach can tell you that's going to reaffirm, like, hey, you have to do better. Well, no kidding. But at the end of the day, we want to talk about, do you let the past affect you a little bit? I guarantee these Chargers coming in, they remember, because there's a couple key pieces on this Chargers team that remember that playoff game.
Sure.
That remember that collapse. And then they can sit here and say, oh, okay, yeah, that was a couple years. No. They remember it. And I think that's going to be a little extra motivation to them. So why not use a little extra motivation from that Texans game for the Jaguars?
All right, let's try this again.
And, we talked a lot about today that the soul of sport is team. The soul of sport. Why do we want our kids to play sport? Because of the lessons that it does and provides you as people, as teammates, as men. And that connection is what's going to get us over the hump in those moments and in a tough time like coming off a loss like Sunday.
Now, he was very calm by Wednesday, but I heard that he was quite animated, and that's what you'd expect. He is a fiery coach. Remember the sideline in Cincinnati when Trevor threw the ball inaccurately? So I like this guy. I really think that they have a coach that can set the tempo for a team and pull them through. I'm very curious, Mike. Again, he's not going to play, right? But I do think a lot of how this team responds is on the way that he pulled his team through this week.
Yeah, look, you look to your leadership to kind of project what you want your team to be going forward. If he is panicked, if he's frantic, if he's at a loss for how do I fix this, then I think the players are going to see that and not respond very positively. Interesting that he got so philosophical on it, though, right? Like the reason we play sport. And you'll find out teams do fracture, right? And they have a good record. They're in a good position overall, Austen, but it's 3 of the last 4 games that they lost. And when teams start going badly, if there are those hairline cracks, they can get a lot worse.
Yeah, it seems like the sky is falling, and this team is right in the playoff picture right now. And, when you talk about what's happening now and trying to rally your team and everything, obviously with social media and the outside noise, you have to block all that, which is easier said than done, especially since the era that I played, 15 years ago. But I think now you almost have to go, you know what? People are talking, and as they should. It was an embarrassing performance against the Texans, but now it's almost like that us versus them mentality. You can use that as motivation and be like, hey, no one's going to believe in us right now, and nothing's more deadly than a person who's got nothing to lose.
All right, let's hear from probably the best offensive player now. When you consider all of the guys who are down and injured, it's Travis Etienne, who talked this week in the locker room about this being an easy week to get ready to respond.
How you going to respond? Just going through what we went through last game, man. It's funny you brought up the Chargers game. Now I've truly been on both sides of that spectrum, Definitely much better been on the other side of it. But we just got to find the ways to finish. But I feel like it starts with our mindset, and I feel like just locking in. Understanding what's at stake. Understand that it's a 4-quarter game, 60 minutes, man. It's the NFL.
He was calm, and he said all the right things. He said all the things you expect a leader to say.
Yeah, and listen, they're going to have to rely on him a lot today because you're taking on a defense now in the Chargers. Like we were talking about the Houston Texans defense, how good that is. They're number 1 in terms of pass defense. In a lot of metrics, the Chargers are number 2, right? So this is going to be a big Travis Etienne day. Control the clock. And I think he knows. I think Liam Cohen knows it. Everyone in this city knows that, if you want to win this football game, it's going to be with the legs of Travis Etienne.
Right.
Yeah. Look, first I had to check the rundown to make sure that wasn't going to be a Parker Washington soundbite because I feel like he's been right there in terms of his performance this year. But Travis Etienne's been very good. You got to slow down Khalil Mack. Danielle Hunter single-handedly wrecked the game for the Jaguars last week, and they're both headed to the same place in Canton, Ohio, eventually. And Khalil Mack had a big game last week. He's had a good number of sacks this year. We would love to have him on this pass rush this year. So the best way to slow that down is an effective running game.
All right. Another headline from this week was the coach saying that Trevor Lawrence needed to play free. Here are his thoughts again from Wednesday, talking about the quarterback and the quarterback's performance.
Just attack this defense. And if there's windows that pop and present, man, let's feel the confidence to cut these things loose and play freely and continue to use your legs as a weapon. At the end of the day, he did put us in a position to potentially kick a game-winning field goal at the end of that thing when the ball got down to the 42-yard line.
But the message was pretty clear. Get rid of the ball. When you see it, let it go.
That's been an issue all year, right? We've noted throughout the course of the season, even in the wins, they've had some things open, and for whatever reason, it appears Trevor's head is looking in that direction. He just hasn't pulled the trigger.
Yeah, it almost seems like this year it's been ingrained in him that he's trying to play not to lose and not play to win. And when you have that kind of mentality, and I hate saying the G word, but game manager, that comes to mind a little bit. Well, we've seen him make brilliant passes even this season, right? The Chiefs game's a prime example to Brian Thomas Jr. to help win that football game. So he has all the capabilities to be a great quarterback. Now it's on him just to go out there and let it loose.
Well, let's hear from the quarterback himself when he was presented with the head coach's thoughts a little later in the day on Wednesday.
That's the balance of playing quarterback, right? Is the balance of aggressiveness, of when to take the shot, when to, take completions, when to protect the ball. You look at just overall being a little bit more aggressive when we have some opportunities down the field. I think that's something that this year maybe haven't taken as many shots. So that's something I know I can do well, and I know our offense can do well that we have done in the past. So I know that we can make some improvements. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just going out there, cutting it loose, trusting myself. I know that, Liam's got my back.
You can kind of appreciate what he's talking about here. I mean, you're talking about a guy who has more turnovers since coming into the league than any other quarterback.
And it's been preached by all of us that he needs to cut that down. So let's be fair to Trevor Lawrence here. He goes out there today and is aggressive and throws 2 or 3 picks. He'll get killed for that, too. I heard Dan Orlovsky on ESPN this week. I brought this up several times this week. And he started talking, and I didn't know who he was talking about at first, and it turned out to be Jordan Love. But what he was saying was this offense is so afraid of getting in 3rd and 7. From a protection standpoint, a conversion standpoint, that first down, Austen, becomes let's get 3 or 4 yards, right? Let's just get a completion. And that mindset, it's like 3 yards here, 3 yards here, and you're still in 3rd and medium. That's if you complete those passes. And it resonated with me a lot, because I think that's what Liam Cohen is talking about here. We can't be dinking and dunking. We've got, when the shots are there, we just got to take them.
Yeah, because the way this team is constructed, and I get it. I said the word game manager. I mean, Brock Purdy made a contract essentially being a game manager. Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl being a game manager when he was with the Rams. If you have the offense in place to be that, if you have the defense to play complementary football, by all means. But right now, when we see this roster, there's injuries. You don't have a lot of weapons. The defense isn't playing great football. It's on Trevor to try to go out and win the game, and that's what it's got to be. He just can't manage it anymore.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective for folks, I mean, you're playing today without Travis Hunter, who is done for the season. We found that out this week with the LCL surgery that he had in Dallas. And if you have Brian Thomas Jr., it's going to be a very limited package as he tries to return from that ankle injury he suffered in Las Vegas. And that's a big if. We'll find out at 11:30 whether he'll be active. Brenton Strange, who was on the practice field this week working, not going to be active today. So you're dealing with a great number of these injuries. He's got to be willing, though, to trust some guys. Parker Washington is one he trusts. It appears Jacoby Myers is a player that he has more confidence with. And then you're going to need an Austen Trammell. I mean, you're playing without your first 2 tight ends. Johnny Munt is your only option in that case. So we'll see how much he's willing to let her rip. All right, the other big story this week, the lack of a pass rush. If there had been any at all in the fourth quarter last week, you'd like to think you get at least one stop, and the clock runs out, and you end up winning that ball game. Let's hear from the defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile, on a collective effort up front.
You got to have a great rush plan against guys like that. It's similar to like when you're playing against Pat Mahomes, guys like that who are really elusive in the pocket. You have to have a good rush plan and not be behind the quarterback and giving them B-gap step-ups, that whole deal. And you got to do a good job in the interior as well. That's not just the edge. And really trying to make sure that everybody is square in front of the QB and you're running stuff that gets guys an opportunity to pressure the passer and all the while keeping them in the pocket. You got to be on point with a guy like this, because he is, as you said, he is legit, and he's done a great job with his feet.
So a wise coach, I should say, told me years ago, just because you didn't doesn't mean you can't. Meaning from one week to the other, it doesn't mean you can't go out and rush the passer this week. So they didn't rush the passer last week. Can they this week? Can they get after this guy?
You better. To add to that, Coach, you better get after the quarterback this week, simply because they're hurting right now at the tackle position, right? They have still some names on the interior part of it, the guard position, but in terms of tackles, these guys have been beat all year, and obviously when you lose 2 of your bona fide left tackle and Slater, and then you move Alt over, and then he gets hurt for the season, they're struggling right now. The thing with Justin Herbert, what he's done so well, because doesn't have a lot to work with on the offensive line, is he has such a feel for the pocket where he can take off, get 5-6 yards a pop. So if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive line right now, I'm Trayvon Walker, I'm Josh Hines-Allen, I have to stay on the same plane. I have to communicate, and I have to make sure that we're rushing as a tandem, because you can't let Herbert get out the pocket.
By the way, that was your favorite coach, Joe Cullen, or one of your favorite coaches. One of your guys.
Yeah, look, and by the way, if you get to Herbert, good luck. You got to bring him down now, because he's 6'6" and built like an Adonis is what he's built like, honestly.
Built like Josh Allen.
Look, Josh Hines-Allen, he
Josh
built
Allen,
like Buffalo's Josh
Yep.
Allen. Josh Hines-Allen should have dominated Ariante Ursary last week. He really should have. He had a good game against him earlier. He's a rookie left tackle. You were missing a couple of pieces on the other side, so they had to pay more attention to that as well. And we saw Danielle Hunter do it. One-man wrecking crew. He just moved all around the line of scrimmage and picked his spot. And, with great contract comes great responsibility. People see Josh Hines-Allen and expect a lot out of him, and I think it's deserved.
Along those lines, the 2 best players on this roster by contract, right, the 2 guys who were rewarded because of their potential, the quarterback, and Josh Hines-Allen. And if the Jaguars are going to beat the Chargers today, both of them have got to play their best games of the season. And, of course, that's not an unrealistic expectation when you put the kind of money in front of them and say, you're worth it. Now go and deliver for me. Well, we've got a whole lot more for you here in hour number 1 of the Publix Tailgate Show, including...
Heath and Logan are both really good assets for that. Heath has been around the league for so many years now, not only as a player, but also as a coordinator, and so he kind of knows my leg and kind of gauges that.
The Jaguars' record-setting kicker is always ready to win a game. He was ready last week, didn't get the chance. Will he get one today? We'll hear from him shortly. But up next, CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco's perspective on today's game. The Chargers and Jaguars kick off at 1 o'clock at Everbank Stadium, and you're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show here on Jaguars Radio.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow. Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
A bold change. A historic development is underway for the Bold City, and the Jacksonville Jaguars and team partners are a part of it. Introducing First and Forward, a development partner program highlighting the significant contributions made toward the transformative efforts to the city of Jacksonville. Thank you, Belter, Brooks Building Solutions, Jackson Electric Supply, Office Images, Sims Crane, Start Tech, and People's Gas. Championing progress on the field and in the community. The First and Forward program. The First Coast Forward Together. To learn more, visit jaguars.com/forward together.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
What's Here is a place that generations have trusted to help their kids grow up healthy and strong. What's Here are caregivers with knowledge and expertise rivaling any children's hospital in the world. What's Here is the only Level 1 pediatric trauma center in our region. What's Here is Wolfson Children's Hospital, with the technology, research, and dedication to save and change countless young lives. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Jags fans, this season make your game day even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium, and then you can enjoy even more with the Al's Pizza Pickoff promo after the game. When the Jaguars get 2 interceptions in one game, you'll score 50% off one pizza any size you want for 48 hours after the game. Just tell them you want the Jags Pick promo when you order. Up your game and your pizza with Al's at the stadium or any of their 5 locations.
Hey sports fans, CSX is delivering big wins. Every day, CSX is on the move, delivering the freight that keeps America on track. From raw materials to finished goods, we connect businesses and communities across the nation with safe, reliable rail transportation. Just like your favorite team, CSX is built on teamwork, precision, and a commitment to excellence. From moving freight efficiently to supporting local economies, CSX is always pulling for progress. CSX, we're pulling for America.
Rolling right along here on a Sunday morning. Jaguars and Chargers coming up at 1 o'clock here at Everbank Stadium. This is the Publix Tailgate Show. Brian, Mike, and Austen from the Hyundai Studios inside the Miller Electric Center. And each week, Mike finds Pete Prisco, wherever he is in the world, the senior writer at CBS Sports, to talk football. What was the conversation this week?
Yeah, I found him once again, Brian.
Yeah, and he can't escape you.
Was he on TikTok or where was he? I always see him on TikTok nowadays.
Is that right?
Yeah. He's got some of those TikTok things going on.
Next time I get on TikTok, will be the first, so you'll have to keep me updated on that one, brother. I wanted to start out getting Pete's reaction to what Liam Cohen talked about, getting Trevor to play more free and cutting it loose.
Absolutely. It's something I've been hoping and preaching he needs to do for a while. I just think he plays better when he turns it loose. And It's almost like he's not alone in this league anymore, Mike. I mean, you look at the completion percentages around the league; they're higher than they've ever been, in large part because people don't turn it loose. They're ready to take the check down, and he's guilty of that. We've seen it many times this season where he's passed on the big throw down the field to take the easy throw. And so turn it loose. Go have fun. And I said this on Monday. I said what they should do is put on the tape of the second half of the game against the last time he played the Chargers, in the playoffs, and say, hey, look at this. This is when you turned it loose because you had to turn it loose. Well, go play like that. And I think they'll ultimately get to that. The problem is the weapons down the field haven't exactly been playing at a great level either.
That's a great way to look at it, right? Like, do you think any NFL coach has ever gone into a game telling his quarterback, hey, let's approach this like we're down 17, right? Like, let's go out and play like your hair's on fire. I think they're more conservative by nature, but you're right. Somehow you got to get yourself in that mindset that it's out there for me and I just have to go take it.
Yeah, and, we always have the old adage that's built in still from way back in yesteryear. If you throw the football, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad.
Right.
Well, that's not the case. I mean, you can also... if you run the ball and you have a long, time-consuming drive and you end up getting a field goal, is that a better situation than getting a 70-yard touchdown pass down the sideline? No, absolutely not. And I think we've gotten too caught up in this. All these defenses play off coverage now, and so everybody's afraid to take the big shot. Well, there's ways to beat those deep coverages with the big shot. You just got to figure it out. I don't think the offensive coaches have been aggressive enough, not just in Jacksonville, but everywhere, taking their shots down the field.
Pete, you've been around covering this league for a long time as well as anybody, and when teams get to Tuesday, they start talking about, we got to look ahead to next week. We can't let it impact us. How easy is that to do, or how difficult in this circumstance where you do blow a 19-point lead, and for the first time in franchise history, and you lose in the fourth quarter in the fashion they did? How well-positioned is this Jaguar team mentally to bounce back, in your opinion?
Well, it's going to test Liam Cohen again. I mean, and I thought he's done a nice job of handling himself during the week. But I'm a big believer in once you get out on the field and get hit in the mouth the next week, that game's gone. Now, you might carry it over into Wednesday, and you're thinking about it, and maybe even into Thursday. But then I think you put it behind you and you realize what you have to do. And then when you get out on the field, and the guy across from you puts a forearm in your mouth, you're not going to sit there and say, oh, well, what happened last week? Maybe I'm not reacting fast enough. So I think that stuff kind of gets overrated because it is a week-to-week league, and I think guys do a great job of putting it behind them.
A typical team would look at the Chargers and go, wow, they're playing without their starting tackles. Their interior of the offensive line has had issues. We are going to feast in the pass rush, but it's a very similar situation to what Houston had last week. Are the Jags going to be able to impact Justin Herbert with their pass rush today?
Well, they better. And, we saw that last week. That's a bad offensive line, and they didn't get much pressure. And it's a lot of money invested in that defensive line, a lot of assets invested in that defensive line to not get pressure. So, I mean, if I were on that team right now, I would be calling out the pass rushers. I'd call out Josh Hines-Allen, and he kind of did this week, Liam Cohen. I'd call out Trayvon Walker. I mean, your first overall pick, and you don't do anything. And I know he had the hand injury, but you got to be more aggressive getting up the field. Even the sack where he got called back for the personal foul, the guy tried to cut him. It wasn't like he won. He tried to cut him and missed him. And so I think this is a week they have to be able to pressure Justin Herbert. It's going to be a long day.
Pete, for many years we've looked at this team and said, man, why can't they cover a tight end? And over the last few weeks, it's kind of been that case again. I know they have a bunch of injuries in the secondary. You're not getting pressure, so guys have to cover longer. But Rondé Gatson Jr., maybe not a household name, very good young player in his rookie season, making an impact. How dangerous is he to the Jaguars' defense today?
Well, he's definitely dangerous because he's a former wide receiver who's blown up to a tight end, so he gives you matchup problems. And last week we saw the touchdown in the back of the end zone to the tight end, and how did that happen? Well, he had a week and a day to throw the football. I mean, if you're going to have a week and a day to throw the football, you're going to beat those safeties, and it's a little bit of a liability in that defense. Wingard can't run with anybody, and that's a problem. And Johnson blows assignments. That's a problem. So you have two safeties that you can't rely on. And I think when you want to try and get aggressive and blitz, you're going to leave those safeties in some one-on-one situations, and that's problematic. So it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And it's tough to call a defense when you don't have a great pass rush and you have safeties who give up big plays.
All right, all that being said, how do you see it going today?
I think the Chargers win the game. They could prove me wrong by rushing the passer, but if you don't rush Justin Herbert, he's going to sit back and carve you to shreds. And I just think what we saw from the Chargers defense last week was impressive. I know it's a short turnaround for them on the East Coast, but I just think Herbert's going to do enough to win the game.
And Pete hasn't picked the Jags to lose many this year. But, I mean, look, you look at Herbert, again, it comes down to the pass rush. Can you affect him? If you do, it can be a completely different game. But if Herbert has time today, the weapons that he has with Ladd McConkey starting to get his season back going, the rookie Oronde Gadsden the second, Quentin Johnston off the reclamation pile almost for them, and Keenan Allen just continuing to have an outstanding career. I mean, that's going to be
have never ever covered Keenan Allen effectively.
And he
Not
might
last
be
year in Chicago.
He's like the fourth in the pecking order on that team right now, which tells you the wealth of riches that they have.
If you don't get to this guy completing 67% of his passes against two backup tackles, not that mattered last week, you're going to have a long day.
No, without a doubt, because you saw what Houston was able to do. And Houston really had Nico Collins and then, some rookies and Dalton Schultz. Like, you see the skill position here, and you have Johnston who, is kind of having a resurgence from last year, had a lot of drops last year. This is their deep threat, and they try to go with that deep threat at least once or twice a game. So you got to stop him. You got to stop Gadsden, who, when he's on, looks like the reincarnation of Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
And then you got Ladd McConkey, who can run the route tree. Like, this is going to be a hard offense to shut down if you don't get home to the quarterback.
So the best defense today is the offense. Run the ball, control the ball, give your defense a break. More to come, folks. PRI Productions is the official event production company of the Jaguars. They have everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Well, Cam Little has changed the calculus when it comes to winning. Honestly, with a leg like that, all you need is a field goal. You don't have to go too far down the field for a good chance. They would have had a shot last week in Houston, but that penalty, well, we know how that one goes. I asked Cam if there was a spot on the field he wouldn't be quite as confident in giving it a go.
I mean, you can never really say that there's a line that's too far, because if you say that, then another guy is going to go out there and hit it. But, I mean, you've seen some guys hit, even in the offseason, when some guys around the league are just hitting, they're hitting 70, 75. Like the guys that have the big legs, like the Aubreys of the world, the Bates, those guys are hitting 70-plus yarders in training. And so, I mean, you saw Aubrey on, Monday Night Football, hit one from 68. That could have probably been good from about 73, 74. So there's definitely guys that can touch that limit, for sure.
Do you ever stand back there and think, that is a long way away? Because I went and stood on the field after you hit it and thought, man, that's a long way away.
In the game, preseason game against Pittsburgh, that was a long one. That was the first kick I've really stood behind and been like, holy cow, this is 70 yards away from the uprights. But most of the time when you go out there, your peripheral and edge of the fans and everything that's around you, like the line in front of you, you can't really tell that it's that far because you're just so dialed in on the spot and the kick.
How much of your preparation is on the mental side?
Oh, I think that's probably what separates an NFL kicker from a lot of college guys. That jump mentally, knowing you have to do it not only every time but 17 games throughout the season. It's like golf. Golf is a mentally taxing game, and your mind can try and play tricks on you sometimes. But I think mental preparation probably takes up about 80% of my ability. 20% is talent and hard work and technique and all that stuff. But a lot of guys can kick a ball 60 yards and in, but can't do it every time because mentally they're thinking about things in their backswing. So I think mentally, the mental game is a big side of kicking for sure.
Physically, how much of it is just your genetics and how much of it is the actual art of preparing?
Yeah, I think preparation is, I've always been a big believer that preparation throughout the week leads to success. I think when I have my best weeks of practice and when I'm hitting the ball well and I'm not thinking, that's when I usually go out there and play the best. But even I've had to learn throughout my NFL career, if you don't have, and even in college career, if you don't have a good week of practice, you can't, on the flip side, you can't let that affect your game, because at the end of the day, we play games on Sundays. We don't practice to, go out there and, the practice isn't the game. The game is the game. So, I think preparation is a big reason why I do have confidence in leading up to success, yeah.
Who's your caddy? That guy that's out there with you deciding, this is the mark today. Here's the wind and the way that it's coming across the field. Who is it that you consult with?
Yeah, I think Heath and Logan are both really good assets for that. Heath has been around the league for so many years now, not only as a player, but also as a coordinator. And so he's, played with great kickers that have had long careers. And obviously he coached Tyler Bass in Buffalo and, a lot of good kickers here. And so he kind of knows my leg and kind of gauges that based on the wind and stuff like that. And then obviously Logan's played here for, is he in his 9th year here now? So he knows the wind in this stadium. He knows the wind all around everywhere. So both those guys are great assets for me.
And why do you suppose it is now all of a sudden the guys are just nailing it past 65? I can remember in 1998 when Jason Elam kicked the first record-setting field goal in Denver against the Jaguars. And since then, it's just been record after record after record. Why is that happening?
I just think you think about golf swing and the evolution of the golf swing and people being able to hit it so far now. They're starting to learn how to ways to kick the ball farther. Not only that, but like the operations are just so good now. I mean, you look at ours, it's so good. When you look at the 68, Ross put it directly over the spot. All Logan had to do was just sit it down, laces out, and we're going out there and we're making it. And so not only the technique and the ability is evolutionizing, but the operation is so good now to where guys just have to go out there and worry about kicking. And that's the beauty of being here is all I got to do is just go worry about kicking the ball. I don't got to worry about my operation at all.
Let's just wrap it up with this. I mean, going into the stretch run of the season, you've kicked a 68-yard field goal. You've kicked one that sent it into overtime. We've had long returns by reserve wide receivers to set up plays, and we've had Parker Washington with a couple. Special teams seems to be hitting its stride. It's an important time of the year.
Yeah, I think that kind of credits Heath and just the kind of guys, first of all, credits Heath, but not only Heath, but the guys in that room. Very meticulous about, going into practice week. And, that's a big emphasis and a big part of the game. It's the third phase of the game besides offense and defense. And whenever we can go out there and make an impact, with those guys in the room that take their job really seriously on special teams, it can be a special thing. So it's really cool to know that we have, guys like, Ross and Logan that have been here for 6 to 9 years, say Ross 6 or 7 and Logan 8 or 9, that are kind of leading that room, and they know that the standard is the standard and we're not going to drop below that standard. So it's really cool to, be a part of something that matters because, special teams in, high school and college may not matter to a lot of teams. They play the two phases, but here it's a big part of it.
If the Jaguars give him a chance to try a long field goal or maybe even a short one to win the game today against the Chargers. Well, he mentioned Heath Farwell.
Seen him do it in practice, so it was really cool to kind of actually put it to a game to kind of for display for everybody in the stadium and the TV to see.
We'll hear from the special teams coordinator coming up, and in 15 minutes, Jeff Loggeman and Bucky Brooks join us from the broadcast booth. Chargers and Jaguars, 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show, and this is Jaguars Radio.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Catch epic showdowns in Cincinnati and Denver. Turn up the heat in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Support your Jaguars in divisional clashes in Houston, Nashville, and Indianapolis. View real-time parking, security, and flight updates on flyjacks.com. Whether you stick with the play call or you need an audible, they'll be your teammate every step of the way. Book your nonstop flights today. Learn more at flyjacks.com.
Game day means it's time to get loud, get proud, and get real. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Deep Eddy Vodka brings real flavor made with real ingredients to every tailgate, watch party, and post-game toast. Handcrafted in small batches in Austen, Texas, Deep Eddy Vodka is distilled 10 times and is made with purified Texas water, real fruit juice, and pure cane sugar. Wherever you're cheering on the Jaguars, make every moment a real one with Deep Eddy Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Please stay drink responsibly. Deep Eddy Vodka is a product of Deep Eddy Distilling Company, Austen, Texas. 35 to 40% alcohol by volume, distilled from corn.
At GEHA, we stand behind our members because we were founded by members. We're not focused on Wall Street. We're focused on Main Street. So we've built dental plans with 100% coverage for in-network preventive care, with access to a nationwide network of nearly 600,000 provider locations. GEHA is proud to offer dental plans exclusively for federal employees, federal retirees, and military retirees. Visit GEHA.com to learn more.
The kick is up. It's good!
Field goals for Firehouse Subs are back. That means when the Jags score from deep, you do too. Anytime the Jags score a field goal that's 40 yards or more, you can get a free medium sub with the purchase of any other medium sub, online or in the app for 4 days following the game. So cheer on the Jags, watch for the big kicks, and get your buy one, get one free medium sub at participating Firehouse Subs throughout Jacksonville when you use the app. The hottest subs in Duval. See firehousesubs.com for offer terms.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Brought to you by FDOT.
Welcome back. The Publix Tailgate Show rolls along. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Brian, Mike, and Austen with you from the Hyundai Studios. Chargers and Jags on Salute to Service Sunday. Brought to you by our friends at CSX. And it's time for our weekly commentary from Rick Ballou.
Wow. Still shocked by what happened last week in Houston. You know, I've been in a lot of locker rooms after losses, and guys put that away pretty quickly. That was a stunned football team. No doubt about it. I know you fans, you've had a tough time getting over it as well, which is expected. The players, that's a totally different story. How will they respond? Now, complicating matters is the ridiculous amount of injuries that the Jaguars have. 5 we know for sure are not going to play. Make that 4 actually not going to play. We'll find out about Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, this is a problem, but this is what all teams deal with, including the Chargers, who today will be going with their third left tackle and third right tackle already this year. Neither of those two players played last week for Los Angeles as well. For Trevor Lawrence, it's Justin Herbert, who he is always compared to, at least in Duval. That is not the case around the league. That is not the case in Los Angeles. Herbert is better. Lawrence has been criticized, and it's justified. However, 2 weeks ago, 6 straight drives, he led them to points, including in overtime against the Raiders. And then look at what he did with 31 seconds remaining, drove the ball into field goal range, only to be erased by the penalty on Chuma Edoga. Can you imagine what would have been said after blowing that lead if Jacksonville came back and made the game-winning field goal? Would have been totally different these past, 6 or 7 days. All right, finally, the ending for Travis Hunter's rookie season is awful. And for those who said he couldn't play both ways, they're right, at least for now. So many out there, NFL pundits, said he could not play both ways. They even went as far as to state that they had an agenda on it, or at least it sounded as if they had an agenda on it. The fact is, he didn't get worn down. He could handle the grind, as many said he could not. He wasn't taken off the field because of an injury. Hunter was hurt on a non-contact situation during practice. A freak injury. The question will remain for another year. Can he go both ways? Perhaps playing one side of the football is the way to go. Just remember, those who are yelling the loudest, they missed on how Travis Hunter actually got hurt.
You can get more with Rick on Into the Night with Rick Ballou, weeknights, 6 to 8 on 1010 XL. Special teams coordinator Heath Farwell has seen a lot in his NFL career. He was an undrafted rookie linebacker and became a special teams captain on a Super Bowl champion. And now he's a special teams coordinator and one of the best in the league. Farwell knows teams and is a major voice in the NFL when it comes to the way that the league wants to play teams. He's as impressed as anyone with the long field goals we're seeing and isn't sure, much like his kicker, that there's a yard too far.
Yeah, I mean, these kickers keep getting better every year. It's so impressive how talented they are. The work they put in, it's unbelievable. Cam, we see every day. You know, he's one of the hardest workers on this team. And so you see the results. You know, we've seen him do it in practice. So it's really cool to kind of actually put it to a game to kind of for display for everybody in the stadium and the TV to see, to witness what we see all the time.
You're kind of his caddy, right? I mean, the caddy, you kind of know what the wind is doing and where his spot is on the field. How do you calculate that when you're on the field in the pregame?
I mean, I think just knowing your guy. I think that's part of it, is knowing your guy, and then getting a feel of how he's feeling on game day, what the wind is like. And it's a feel thing on game day. And so him and I have great conversations, and it's it starts all week of how he's feeling, and then it continues throughout warm-ups and throughout the games. I have to check in with him as that wind changes maybe in the fourth quarter. What does that change to his line? So him and I are in constant communication of what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling. And he's doing the same. And so between the two of us, we usually come up with those lines. And, it's funny how it works out. It seems like what our numbers are pretty much almost exactly every time. We just have a good relationship and feel for each other. I know how he's feeling. I could feel him. I think he can understand where I'm coming from. And so it's amazing how accurate we are on those lines. And we trust him. And that's the biggest thing is when he tells us a line or we talk through a line, we're sending him out there with the thought he's going to make it. And we know he's going to make it.
Tell me about your return game. Last 2 games, right? You get the long one against the Raiders on the kickoff that was very important to you. And, of course, Parker sets the franchise record with his 3rd career punt return. Tell me about your return game.
I mean, our returners are unbelievable. We have obviously Parker's been fantastic. His ability to change directions, make people miss is spectacular. And I think the guy's blocking. It's really cool to kind of see where they've come from week 1 or week 2 to where they are now, and just blocking for them. They're unbelievable. And then, like I said, Bajal, LeQuint's been back there. We've had a bunch of guys we've rotated through. Diame's been back there. So we've rotated through a bunch of returners, and they've all kind of gave us a different look and different perspective, and they've all been great. So it's been really cool to kind of work with these guys. But you can feel anytime Parker gets the ball, and you talk to the guys that are out there on the field, they believe, and they believe anytime we get those punt returns, there's a chance to score. So you could feel that emotion, and even the sideline kind of stands up like, wait, something's good about to happen. So it's a cool thing to be a part of. I think the guys are really embracing the return game, and like I said, I'm glad to be a part of it.
We can keep talking about Logan Cook and the punt to the 10-yard line last week and all the different things. Where do you have to be better? Because I know you guys have a very high standard. What more are you looking for from your units?
I think kickoff coverage. I think that's something that was a big emphasis, at the bye week of how we can get better, and we're continuing to do that. It's something that I've kind of, put on myself to put the guys in the right positions and to figure out the best solutions. And they're doing a good job. And like I said, this is on me. I think we got to be better at that. So we'll continue to work. I think we got a good plan this week. But we got to get out there and play. So but it's an ongoing thing as a coach. Of the moment you look around and say, I think we got this thing figured out, you're wrong. So it's ever evolving, and it's something I want to get better at. And you'd love to be in the top 10 of every category, and kickoff is one of those. So we take a ton of pride in it. We just got to get better at it.
Final thought. It's been a difficult week for this team coming off last week's loss. I've noticed, though, that your special teams units in practice have a lot of energy. That's buy-in, right? I mean, that's understanding the standard and buying into it.
I think it's the culture. I think the guys do a really good job. They take such pride in special teams here. It's been like that. But even we've had some turnover with players, and it just takes off right where we left off. And the culture here is unbelievable. And I think that's what it is. I think the guys just love being a part of it. It starts in the meetings. You could feel how much they care about and what we're doing. And then it comes out to practice, and nobody has more fun. That's the emphasis of the program. I tell them every single day, go out and have fun today. Let's make this a fun practice. Fly around. I believe that's when you play your best football, is when you're flying around having fun with your buddies. And I'm glad you noticed. I appreciate that, because I think that is a staple for the program.
Guys, we talked earlier about the offense being the best defense today to help out with pass rush and with the problem at safety that this team has lately. Special teams as well. Good field position to start, pinning them deep, and maybe a return from Parker Washington, which all of a sudden seems like something you can count on.
Yeah, I mean, Parker Washington's playing like an all-pro as a return man right now. But look, they got to be better in the punting game, I think, a little bit here. Logan Cook's an outstanding punter, does a great job, but he's had a few kind of...
Although with the game last week when they needed it, he pinned him at the 10 or the 7.
No, I'm saying he's had moments.
Yeah. He's not been consistent like he normally is.
Right, it hasn't been... start to finish the best season of his career. They got to be good in all phases of the game today. You got to put points on the board when you can get them with the field goal unit too.
No, without a doubt. And it is a big thing in the punt game, right, to pin them back and everything. But when you talk about the punt returns, the kickoff returns, you may need that big spark today against the Chargers, who we probably feel like might put up some points. So to change that momentum, got to have a Parker Washington touchdown, or at least a punt block, something. I'm calling for something out there.
I am too. We'll see if they can get it done today. From the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power onboard gives you the power of a mobile generator. Ford, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, invites you to see your local Ford dealer today. Well, coming up at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, hour 2 of the Publix Tailgate Show. But when we return, across the parking lot, we go to the stadium for Jeff Lageman and Bucky Brooks. Chargers and Jags coming up at 1. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
Game day means it's time to get loud, get proud, and get real. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Deep Eddy Vodka brings real flavor made with real ingredients to every tailgate, watch party, and post-game toast. Handcrafted in small batches in Austen, Texas, Deep Eddy Vodka is distilled 10 times and is made with purified Texas water, real fruit juice, and pure cane sugar. Wherever you're cheering on the Jaguars, make every moment a real one with Deep Eddy Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Please stay drink responsibly. Deep Eddy Vodka is a product of Deep Eddy Distilling Company, Austen, Texas. 35 to 40% alcohol by volume, distilled from corn.
At GEHA, we stand behind our members because we were founded by members. So with 0 shareholders to mind, we keep our members in mind by offering a health plan for every stage of life. Plus, hearing and fitness discounts. At GEHA, one thing is clear. Your health isn't our business. It's our purpose. That's why we've been trusted by millions of federal employees and retirees across the country since 1937. Visit GEHA.com to find your federal health plan.
Huddle up, My Gate Rewards members. Football is back. Celebrate with the Duval Meal Deal at Gate. Right now, grab a personal pizza and any 20-ounce Coca-Cola soft drink for just $4.99. No matter what combo you choose, this meal's the perfect play. Happening now through January 5th, 2026. See store for details. A deal that's a victory for every fan. Gates got you.
Hey sports fans, CSX is delivering big wins. Every day, CSX is on the move, delivering the freight that keeps America on track. From raw materials to finished goods, we connect businesses and communities across the nation with safe, reliable rail transportation. Just like your favorite team, CSX is built on teamwork, precision, and a commitment to excellence. From moving freight efficiently to supporting local economies, CSX is always pulling for progress. CSX, we're pulling for America.
Welcome back to the Publix Tailgate Show. Brian, Mike, and Austen with you from the Hyundai Studios. Today's game, Salute to Service, is delivered by CSX. And time now to head to the Heritage of North Florida broadcast booth where Jeff Lageman and Bucky Brooks are standing by. Gentlemen, this place where you find yourself today, it's called home. It's a place you haven't been in quite a while.
And it's a beautiful day. I mean, you talk about a Chamber of Commerce day. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, we got sun out, blue skies, few clouds here and there, and you know, to kind of lean on Patrick Cavanaugh here a little bit, we got a new playing surface, boys. We got a new playground.
It looks nice. It's a nice surface. Everything. It's a great day.
Cat head looks good.
Everything.
End zones look good. I mean, this is a really – I mean, seriously, guys, they put in a new surface back in October, and we just got off the phone with the grounds guy.
Oh.
And to give you a little technical term here, boys, okay, it's a Tahoma 33 Bermuda grass.
Oh. All right.
Have any idea what that might be, Bucky?
I don't, but
it's
it looks
a Bermuda
like a
grass.
nice surface. Nice
I just want to know
fast.
when it rolls on the stimp meter, guys. Let me know when if you can get a time to roll a few putts out there. All right. Let's get to Finding Solutions, presented by UF Health, the proud healthcare partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Guys, what is the solution to getting pressure on Justin Herbert today after a week in which the Jaguars pass rush did not take advantage of injuries on the opponent's offensive line?
The key is winning on early downs. As Jeff can tell you as a pass rusher, if you win on early downs, then on third down, everyone knows the run game, the play action game is not effective. And with the Chargers, who are a team that really wants to run the ball, they want to control the clock, they want to control the tempo of the game, you want to dominate the running game. So now you make Justin Herbert throw when everyone in the stadium knows that he has to throw. And then it's about taking advantage of those inexperienced tackles that they have on the outside. Both their starting tackles that they had penciled in from the start of the regular season are gone. And so it's about taking advantage of those guys. But to do it, you got to get them backed up, favorable matchups, and then you got to hunt.
I think that's the only way they can do it. I think, Bucky, I think you're dead on, because, I think right now they're not playing well enough to win if it's 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 4 as pass rushers. The best pass rusher right now is Eric Armstead. And the two edge guys are just not playing at that level that you would expect them to play at. And I'll throw this out there. Look, the coverage hasn't been that good either. We want to talk about the rush guys, but look, rush and cover work hand in hand. And when you don't have a Jordan Lewis and Eric Murray and Travis Hunter, and you're not playing well on the back end, Greg Newsome's still trying to get his footing underneath of him. That's a tough situation to be in. And let's add this to it. Justin Herbert is a threat now with his legs as well, which, the last couple times you faced him, I don't think he's been that guy. But the numbers are pretty obvious. He is at a career high of rushing yards right now this year at 324 yards. And that's only after 10 games. And he's on pace to rush for 551 yards and to have 87 carries. So here's the part that I'm worrying about. Okay, if you're going to take your shots at him, he can take off.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if you don't take your shots at him, now all of a sudden you're rushing in a hesitant state, and that just doesn't work. So, guys, I'm very concerned about that today.
Jeff, a little follow-up with that. With Justin Herbert, his ability to have that pocket presence and take off a little bit, does that affect you as a pass rusher? Where it's like, okay, maybe I'm not going to give him my speed move just because if he gets around, then it's over. Like I remember Aaron Rodgers playing against him in his prime, where you always kind of had to change how you pass rush. Do you have to change with Justin Herbert?
That's the concern there, Austen. Exactly. Just mentioned about, okay, you got a guy that's got some mobility. Now are you going to just try to go down the middle of guys because you're worried about him running? Well, guess what? If you're going down the middle of guys, you're not a very good pass rusher. And so are they going to be hesitant? I hope not, because you got to take your shots. But, as we saw last week, 3rd and 14, they go after him, and all of a sudden the quarterback knifes through, and then all of a sudden he's walking in the end zone for the go-ahead score in that ball game. So, there's a lot of concern about today, guys. A little concern about third down defense, ability to rush the passer. Can this team recover from last week? I think that's the biggest one. To me, that's number one.
Yeah, like mentally, how do you bounce back? And when Jeff talks about the pass rush, it's not only rushing to the depth of the quarterback's drop and making sure you don't leave these open lanes, but it's in the secondary. Can you plaster? When he does break containment, can you stay on your guys and not give up the big plays? Because we've seen the Jaguars victimized by the big plays on scrambles and those things. And so it's going to require one of the most disciplined games that we've seen from the Jaguars, not only on defense but on offense. This is a game where we can't beat ourselves because we have to be locked into the game plan and do exactly what the coaches have instructed when it comes to the call sheet.
Yeah, and just one thing to add there, guys. We just got done talking about how mobile he is. I think he's got one of the top 3 or 4 arms in the National Football League when it comes to arm talent. So hang on, boys. This is going to be a good one.
You guys have both been in NFL meetings, so you know how this works. Coaches always put, the game records on the board, and usually it's 2 or 3. If you're in those defensive meetings right now, who are the game records for the Chargers on offense? Because there's a lot of them.
Well, number one, you start with Justin Herbert. And I think you also have Kamani Vidal in there just because of the mindset of Jim Harbaugh. That's just the way that he's going to play. Keenan Allen is a guy that's long in tooth, but he still gets a ton of catches on third down. But at the top of the receiving list right now is Ladd McConkey. A guy that I think a lot of people kind of ignored until the second round. The Chargers grabbed him. But all he is a really good football player. And then Quentin Johnson is a guy that can take off the top of a defense. So there's a couple guys that are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing about the Chargers is they do it collectively, but they have some individuals that can go bonkers and take over the game. And Jeff talked about Ladd McConkey being a number one receiver, underrated number one receiver, guy that many didn't think could be a number one. He's become that for the Chargers. They bring back Keenan Allen to be the chain mover. Third downs, you have to look for number 13 to find a way to get open over the middle of the field. Quentin Johnson has been reborn under Jim Harbaugh in terms of pumping confidence and life into him. He is someone that was viewed as a first-round bust. And so on the perimeter, they can get it done. But it always comes down to the running game when it's Jim Harbaugh. They want to run the football. It doesn't matter who they have in the backfield. Vidal has been a revelation coming out of Troy, replacing Amari Hampton. This is a really, really physical football team. They want to run it, but then they're going to take advantage of it. If you overcommit to the run game, they're going to find big shots in the passing game.
I mean, it's kind of wild. I mean, third depth guy on the chart, Vidal,
yeah.
right? 4.5 yards a carry.
I mean, this is what they do, and this is what he does. They believe in playing the game a way that is physical. He's super competitive. He finds a way to breathe life into the team. And so for the Jaguars, this is a great team to bounce back, because if you're able to play them and meet them and exceed their physicality and toughness, it's going to bode well for the way that you can play the rest of the season.
All right, guys, less than a minute here. Big theme this week. Liam Cohen talking about Trevor Lawrence needing to play freely and cut it loose. Do you think we'll see a noticeable difference in Trevor today?
Well, I hope so. I mean, the reality is that he's near the bottom in passer rating in the National Football League. And, and a lot of people say, well, what does it mean by just let it loose and let it rip? Well, I mean, there's a lot of plays that Trevor has had to where guys are open, but he's not throwing the ball in a timely fashion. A couple things happening. Number one, he's still in his drop when he should have his feet set and be ready to throw. Or number two, he sees it, but he doesn't trust it. Yeah. And then when you don't trust it, now all of a sudden you look at the rush because all of a sudden the ball's not out, and then you've got to do something to buy time, and now the play's kind of all scheduled. So Trevor's just got to be better, and I hope that he gains a little bit of that magic, going back to that 22 postseason that he had in the second half of the Chargers, because that was a game that he just let it rip. And right now, he's just not letting it rip for whatever reason. But, I also don't want to see a guy throwing the ball all over the yard, and all of a sudden we're looking at 4 interceptions like the first half of that Chargers playoff game.
Look, man, salute to Service Day. I'm going to bring up this reference because I talked about it all week. It reminds me of Top Gun. We need Trevor Lawrence to be more maverick than ice. Can't necessarily worry about everything being perfect. Let it go and let the people around him elevate his game. And if he does that, he should be able to take a page from the guy that's on the other side, Justin Herbert. Because early in his career, Justin Herbert would hold on to it, wouldn't let it go. And somehow he's gotten past that. Trevor Lawrence needs to let it go, and we can live the results. But, man, you want to see a very aggressive, assertive, decisive quarterback for the Jaguars today.
I would take ice right now, Bucky. I mean, I'd take ice right now.
Have a good broadcast today.
Thank you, boys.
And we are done with hour number 1. JP Shadrick just sauntered into the studio. He's about to sit down and grace you with his brilliance, guys. Good luck in hour number 2. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show, and this is Jaguars Radio.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey sports fans, CSX is delivering big wins. Every day, CSX is on the move, delivering the freight that keeps America on track. From raw materials to finished goods, we connect businesses and communities across the nation with safe, reliable rail transportation. Just like your favorite team, CSX is built on teamwork, precision, and a commitment to excellence. From moving freight efficiently to supporting local economies, CSX is always pulling for progress. CSX, we're pulling for America.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtimes. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
Hour 2 of the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Week 11 closing in on the LA Chargers at 7-3 and the Jacksonville Jaguars 5-4. Everbank Stadium, Jacksonville, the site for the 1 o'clock kickoff time. Today's game delivered by CSX. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, Austen Lane. And we're at the Hyundai Studios of the Miller Electric Center. Only game in Jacksonville for nearly 2 months. Late October, the Seahawks game was the last game played here for the Jaguars, and then December 7th is the next game played here for the Jaguars. How it works sometimes with the London game in the schedule, Austen and Mike, and here we are. Important game. Both teams are playoff seeds right now. The Jags are the 7 seed as it stands today.
Yeah, it's a hugely important game. It's just that, I think Jaguar fandom's confidence level is not very high. Austen coming off the 3 losses in 4 games, particularly when you let that one get away last week against a backup quarterback who threw for 292 against you. Justin Herbert's having a heck of a season, and he's got great weapons. If we can't pressure Justin Herbert today, look out.
Yeah, I mean, you would think right now this team is has 2 wins on the season, the way the fan base I feel is acting sometimes, right? Yeah. But this team is deep right now in the playoff picture, and this is a huge game, right? Because I think both these teams will be competing for that wild card spot. So a little chance of redemption coming from a bad fourth quarter in Houston, a chance to make it right.
Perfect day to do it as well. Perfect conditions outside as we take a look at game day weather, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Waterless. It's currently 72 degrees, a high of 79 today. Bright sunshine, breeze about 10 miles per hour. And absolutely picture-perfect conditions for the Chargers and the Jaguars. Here are some of today's top stories, starting with the Jags trying to bounce back from an all-time collapse last week against the Texans. They lost a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter, the largest blown lead in franchise history. Head coach Liam Cohen on the mindset this week.
Yeah, we do need to respond. It is part of us. And, we talked a lot about that. The soul of sport is team, the soul of sport. Why do we want our kids to play sport? Because of the lessons that it does and provides you as people, as teammates, as men. That connection is what's going to get us over the hump in those moments and in a tough time like coming off a loss like Sunday.
I think we'll learn a lot about Liam Cohen and his coaching acumen in terms of being in front of the room in a week like this. We've seen them. They got blown out in London against the Rams, but they had the bye week to get it right and then went out to Vegas and won a tough game. Hey, this is tough. I mean,
lost a lead like that, how does this team respond to Liam Cohen, I think, is a huge story.
Well, I think Mike brought up a great point in that first hour where he talked about the goal should be the coach to have the message and the players to carry on that message. Mm-hmm. Well, right now it's just words, right? Because you don't have the stuff to back it up on the field. And that's what we need now with the Chargers coming into town, where guys like Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines, Allen, Trayvon Walker, guys that you're relying on to be your captains, to be your leaders in this locker room, got to carry on that message.
Yeah, I think the fear for me is, do they have the personnel to do that right now, right? And they're playing defensively. They gave up so many points against the Raiders, so much above their average. And yeah, it was great that they won the football game. Backup quarterbacks have had field days against them, including Davis Mills last week. And I mean, the collapse in the fourth quarter. And that's with one guy, as you point out, Austen. Nico Collins is the guy, and to some degree, Dalton Schultz for the Texans. This team today, the Chargers, is loaded with playmakers. I don't know if the Jags can match up with those guys.
And you know what? Sometimes I was talking across the street earlier at the stadium, up in the press box with somebody about this. In a first-year regime, you have an idea of what you might need going into the season, but it takes going into the season to maybe fully realize that maybe you need more than you thought.
And let's be fair. I mean, Eric Murray's on IR. Jordan Lewis hasn't played in a few weeks. Travis Hunter's on IR. Mm-hmm. They're beat up in the secondary, and that's a factor, but it's a reality as well. So you're left with what you're left with.
Let's get to the quarterback now. Trevor Lawrence and Cohen this week having a conversation, and Liam Cohen encouraged him to, quote, let it rip. What does that mean to Lawrence?
Going out there and cutting it loose and feeling a little bit more freedom to let some things go, to take some shots. And that's the balance of playing quarterback, right, is the balance of aggressiveness, of when to take the shot, when to take completions, when to protect the ball. That's something where, just specifically looking at this last game, I think there was, probably a few opportunities where I could have maybe thrown a couple balls a little earlier, give our guys some chances down the field. And, you might not hit all of them, but try to avoid some of those sacks. And then you look at just overall being a little bit more aggressive when we have some opportunities down the field.
And follow the progression. If it's open when it's there, throw the football.
Without a doubt, because, listen, there's no secret out there right now how to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars on their offense, right? Teams are trying to stack the box, stop the run, and make Trevor Lawrence beat you deep. You've seen that the past couple weeks now in terms of how teams are planning against the Jaguars. So if that's the case, eventually you have to let it rip in if you want to win some football games, because if you do have aspirations to go to the playoffs, it's going to be behind Trevor Lawrence's arm, simply because teams are going to try to stop that run every single week.
Yeah, letting it rip is a key aspect of that, but completing those plays is a big part of it too. If you're just throwing the occasional deep ball just to show it, I mean, look, we'll see if Brian Thomas Jr. is able to suit up today. Obviously, again, Travis Hunter impacts your offense not being in there as well. Can De'Ami Brown be a field stretcher and a big play maker down the field? He might be the guy they have to rely on in that category.
And, of course, Travis Etienne Jr., Jaguars running back, needs a big day on the ground as well. He knows the Jaguars have to learn how to finish.
We just got to find the ways to finish. But I feel like it starts with our mindset, and I feel like just locking in. Understanding what's at stake. Understand that it's a 4-quarter game, 60 minutes, man. It's the NFL. Nobody's going to lay down and give you anything. So we got to go out there and take things. I feel like it just starts with our mindset and just the way that we approach the game, and just go out there and play for each other, play with a little love, more passion, more energy, and we'll be fine.
Well, they had a couple first downs in that fourth quarter last week. Then they're killing at least, 3-4 minutes more off the clock in the fourth quarter. They didn't do it. And they've got to figure it out and find a way to finish a football game on all sides.
I mean, if I'm Jim Harbaugh on that team meeting and I'm putting up my game records of who we have to stop, Travis Etienne's got to be the focal point, because when Travis Etienne gets the ball in his hands, whether it's in the passing game or in the running game, and he gets his rushes in, this team has a much better shot of winning a football game.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, Jags would like to shorten this game a little bit today, keep it away from the Chargers, maybe play with a lead at some point in the second half to see if you can get the pass rush cranked up. But, Logs and Bucky Brooks talking about it last hour. Unless they do that, he doesn't, Jeff in particular doesn't know if they can win straight up on those early downs.
Jaguars on the offensive line had 5 players in the injury report this week in that group alone, including 4 starters. Cole Van Lanen expected to start at right tackle today for Anton Harrison. Van Lanen shared his mindset week to week. He's the first lineman off the bench every time.
It's kind of our role, right? Like, being the backups, we kind of need to know everywhere along the line, and every given week, like your role could change. So you just kind of got to be ready for 4 or 5 positions, and you embrace the role and whatever it takes to help this team win.
Yeah, 5th-year player now getting a start at right tackle today, and Chuma Edoga will probably be that 6th lineman that they'll use a lot. But this is the group. They want to set the tone and be physical up front. That's the mantra all season long.
Yeah, you're taking on a defense right now that does a great job of taking away the pass, and you have Khalil Mack who's starting to come into his own again. They're getting after the quarterback a little more. So it's not the Houston Texans defensive line, but still this defensive line is going to give them some problems if they're on their P's and Q's.
Yeah, and just wondering here, and I get it, he's been hurt, but when will we see Wyatt Milam given an opportunity to make an impact with this team? You talk about a physical presence you want on the offensive line. That was what he was brought in to be. And I think, if it wasn't for Ezra Cleveland's great training camp, he might have been starting out of the gates. Then he gets hurt, and he hasn't been able to work his way into the mix. We got these kind of journeyman veterans taking those spots. I'd like to see him force the issue a little bit.
This is the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Austen Lane ahead of the Chargers-Jaguars matchup. And we flip it around to the Jags defense now. Struggling in pass rush, changes in the secondary. They've allowed 33 points, just over 33 points per game, since Week 7 defensively. Coordinator Anthony Campanelli knows the work must continue.
When you're in those situations, you got to keep it moving, mixing coverages and stuff like that. But they've done a good job learning it. We have some, like you said, some different guys in there. I love the guys we got. To me, I'll ride with these guys. I'm excited to get going on Sunday. There's only one way to fix things, and that's work your ass off. That's what I know. There ain't any other way to go about it. There's no other answer. And they've been doing that, and our coaches have been doing that, and that's what's the most important thing.
All right, former defensive end. How does the Jaguar defense improve pass rush? Is it a scheme thing? Is it players executing? How do you do this?
No, listen, I'm up where Coach Cam says he's going to ride with them. You probably got to ride a little faster. You probably have to push the gas a little faster and get after that quarterback this weekend. Listen, there is no scheme that's going to help you out here, because we saw it against Houston. You try to send 4, you try to send 5, you try to send 6 in the blitz, and they couldn't really get home. So this has to come down to more of just, I think, taking it personally that you didn't get home against Houston when you should have against an offensive line that was all banged up. This offensive line, especially at the tackle position, maybe even more banged up and maybe even more vulnerable. So if that's the case, it's on Josh Hines-Allen, it's on Trayvon Walker, it's on communication in terms of getting home today.
But what do you do, Austen? What is your preference? If you start sending 5 and they're not getting home, maybe you send 6 on occasion and you're still not getting home, do you at some point, I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? You almost have to throw your hands up and go, all right, let's hope we get there with 4 and let's flood the zone and hope that the opposing quarterback makes a mistake.
You know what? If it's up to me, I'm looking at the guys that I'm paying a lot of money for, that I invested in Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, and I'm hoping they can get home. And Eric Armstead has to do his part as well, because if I start sending 5 or 6, we talk about this all the time. Herbert's got great pocket presence, and you know this firsthand playing fantasy football. They have a lot of weapons that can beat you in a variety of ways, whether it's Johnson going deep, whether it's Godson in the middle, whether it's Ladd McConkey, wherever he wants to go. Like, you don't want to give these guys in the back end even more problems in terms of not having enough guys to cover.
Well, 3 of the top 5 salary cap numbers this year on the defensive line, including Devon Hamilton. You go a little deeper, it's 4 of the top 7 if you include Eric Armstead. So a lot of money going out for not a lot of sack production. And defensive end Josh Hines-Allen breaking down the approach this week against a very big quarterback and mobile quarterback in Herbert.
If we're not fundamentally sound up front, he can escape immediately, especially if we have a lot of man coverage in the back end who can see that and who's comfortable doing that and making those plays. So we got to be aware of that. And then the throws, obviously you see the deep balls. You see, the receivers that they have that can take the top off of any defense if we're not playing with the right communication or playing with the right leverage. So this is a game where we have to be mindful of him each and every play up front and in the back end. We'll do what we do best, and that's get back to playing good sound football, taking the ball away, generating pressure that eventually turn into sacks, which we need, and giving the ball back to our offense and scoring points.
There you have it, Josh Hines-Allen. That would be the recipe for success today. And they got to cover on the back end as well. A lot of injuries in the secondary, certainly today. Jarian Jones being called upon again. Ladd McConkey's had a lot of success at receiver for the LA Chargers. Jarian Jones scouting report.
Nice receiver. A lot of his routes marry up. He's kind of crafty at the top of the route. And
he does a good job of being deceptive with his route. So you just got to, play with technique and, and be on top of everything because he's a solid receiver.
This is where the Jaguars in the offseason, guys, had 4 additions that they felt were going to fix the secondary. None of them are available today. So there you have it. Ransaw has been out all year. Hunter's done for the year. The safety Eric Murray's out for at least a few more weeks, and then Jordan Lewis will not play today either.
Yeah,
next guy's got to play.
Right. Yeah. Somebody's got to line up and cover these guys. And the tough thing about it, Austen, is they're so versatile because they started the year. Everyone thought Ladd McConkey was just going to build off his rookie season. It was a quiet start. Keenan Allen was a lot of the focus of the passing game. And yet Quentin Johnston, as we talked about earlier, kind of developing as that deep threat. Now you've got Oronde Gadsden coming on, and it's circling back to McConkey. I mean, pick your poison. Any given week, you can shut 2 of those guys down. The other 2 can kill you.
No, without a doubt. And keep in mind, they still have a head coach that wants to run the football first, right? So you have to be physical, too, in the trenches. And listen, I think when it comes to the secondary, it's all about bending but not breaking. You're probably going to give up some yardage here or there, but you can't give up that big play. And you have to rely on, once again, your defensive line to get home and hopefully create some pressure on Justin Herbert.
There's some of the best sound of the week ahead of the Chargers-Jaguars matchup. And the Jags have plans for 2028, and they'll be back better than ever. Be among the first to experience the stadium of the future. Cement your place in Jags history by placing your deposit now. Jaguars.com/SOTF tickets and join the future of the Jaguars. We're closing in on Inactives time, about 15 minutes away. But up next, it's a look around the National Football League and Adam Archuleta of CBS Sports on how to defend the L.A. Chargers and Justin Herbert. Kickoff at 1 o'clock for the Chargers and Jaguars. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game. Ride Now Beach Boulevard is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars football fires up your Sundays, and a Yamaha boat brings on-the-water thrills to get you through the other 6 days of the week. Check out the extensive Yamaha boat selection at Ride Now Beach Boulevard in Jacksonville or online at ridenowbeachboulevard.com. Their prices will not be beat. You and the Jaguars can both win this season. Just mention Jaguars at the time of your purchase. Go Jags! Restaurant Orsay is a bustling French-American bistro focusing on classic French techniques with their chefs incorporating a traditional Southern influence. Celebrate life's special moments or just relax and enjoy their daily happy hour. Restaurant Orsay also offers full-service catering for any of your event needs. Restaurant Orsay, located in historic Avondale at 3630 Park Street. Visit www.restaurantorsay.com.
RingCentral's AI receptionist uses voice AI to answer on the first ring, so you'll never miss a call again. In just a few minutes, you can personalize your own AI receptionist to answer questions, route calls, schedule appointments, and even send texts in multiple languages. Plus, it's easy to scale. Create unlimited AI receptionists across any phone system. It's all powered by one reliable platform for effortless AI communications. See for yourself at ringcentral.com. RingCentral, voice of your business.
Is your organization ready to tackle its toughest challenges? For 3 decades, CSI Companies based in Jacksonville has been the trusted workforce partner for leading healthcare and technology providers nationwide. Whether finding the right talent for a specific job, advising on a strategic project, or offering seamless managed services, they tailor every solution to fit your needs. CSI brings trusted expertise and a people-first approach to your organization. Get the job done right. Together, we go further. Learn more at CSICompanies.com.
Hey, fellow Floridians.
We're the Wombles. We're retirees with 5 grandkids.
And huge fans of natural gas. When the kiddos visit from Ohio, we go through towels like pool water. That's why we love our natural gas dryer. It dries in a jiff.
So we use less energy and save money, too.
Yep.
Now earn up to a $300 cashback rebate when you install a new energy-efficient natural gas dryer. To learn more, go to peoplesgas.com/rebates.
JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey and Austen Lane from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. The Publix Tailgate Show continues inside 2 hours until Week 11. The LA Chargers 7-3, the Jacksonville Jaguars 5-4. A 1 o'clock kickoff time at Everbank Stadium. Today's game delivered by CSX. And, Mike, how about a look around the National Football League?
All right, we got to look back to Europe to start the day once again. 9:30 a.m. kickoff this morning in Madrid as the Washington Commanders lead the Miami Dolphins 13-6. 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter of that game. Chris Rodriguez got the start over Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt for the Commanders. 13 carries for 77 yards for Rodriguez. Devon Etienne has 8 for 53 on the Miami side. Jalen Waddle, the leading receiver in the game, has caught 3 for 52. Deebo Samuel, the lone touchdown, 5 catches, 49 yards, and a 20-yard score in that one, tied at 6 at the half. Washington got the early touchdown here in the third quarter. That one ongoing. Elsewhere in the AFC today, the 4-5 Houston Texans are in Nashville to take on the 1-8 Tennessee Titans. Houston quarterback C.J. Stroud will miss his second straight game with a concussion. The Titans are hopeful to get defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons back after a 2-week absence due to a hamstring injury. And the AFC South division leading Indianapolis Colts at 8-2 are on a bye. The New England Patriots beat the Jets 27-14 on Thursday Night Football. In doing so, Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel became just the third coach since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970 to take over a team that won 5 games or less in the previous year and lead them on a winning streak of at least 8 games in his first year on the job. Ted Marchibroda and Andy Reid, the others at 9-2. New England currently has the best record in the entire National Football League. Cincinnati quarterback Joe Burrow hasn't played since sustaining a toe injury versus the Jaguars back in Week 2. However, Burrow returned to limited practice this week with the Bengals with an eye on getting back in the lineup versus the Baltimore Ravens on Thanksgiving night. Joe Flacco will continue to start until Burrow is game ready. 2 playmakers placed on injured reserve yesterday by their respective teams. Broncos running back J.K. Dobbins will miss the rest of the season after being shut down for foot surgery. Rookie running back R.J. Harvey expected to start in his absence. Denver hosting the Chiefs at 4:25 today. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions will be without tight end Sam Laporta for at least the next 4 games due to a back issue. Brock Wright, the next tight end up on the Lions depth chart, but he's listed as questionable for Sunday Night Football with an ankle injury. Detroit's in Philadelphia to face the Eagles. And finally, Hall of Fame defensive back Kenny the Enforcer Easley died Friday night at the age of 66, despite a career that was cut short after only 7 seasons with the Seattle Seahawks due to kidney disease. Easley was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2017.
You're having a look around the National Football League. I haven't heard the name Ted Marchibroda in a long, long time.
Well, there you go. He did it early. He did that. He was the first one to do that, take over a team with 5 wins or less and go on an 8-game winning streak. And pretty impressive what Vrabel's been able to do. Maybe more impressive what Drake May's been able to do this year.
Oh, listen, and shout out to the Patriots. You know, they've obviously been in the dumps for a long time, so finally getting back to prominence, never thought we'd see the day. What has been
Quickly.
2 years? Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
They had a whole 3 or 4 down years, man.
Yeah. Struggle up there.
Yeah.
If the Jags score in the third quarter during today's game, you score free cheese curds courtesy of Culver's. Keep listening to today's broadcast for more information. Former NFL safety Adam Archuleta is the analyst this week for the NFL on CBS, and the Jags defense is giving up 33 points per game since Week 7, third most in the league in that span. So today, how do they defend the Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert?
Listen, that's a great question because – you know, I've been in this business a long time, and I've been a player, and I've been a part of this league. And usually, when we go into a game, and one of our biggest graphics is this is the 9th or 10th offensive line combination that they've had this year. That normally means that they're not a good football team, no matter who's playing quarterback, and it's a disaster, right? And so just the fact that their offensive line is in shambles, and they're down their tackles, and they've given up all those pressures and all those hits, and they're still where they are, you know, at 7-3, and they're still a legit top 5 offense, and they've been able to manage it, to me really says a lot. Yes, they're giving up a lot of pressure. Yes, they're giving up a lot of hits. But Justin Herbert has been able to excel and thrive. And, you know, when I talk to their coaching staff and I talk to Greg Roman, and there's no doubt that they go into every game conscious of the pressure, conscious of the hits, and they know maybe they're not going to be as explosive as that or dynamic as they could be. They could be the number 1 passing offense in the NFL, but they really want him to be efficient and get rid of the football because a healthy Justin Herbert is better than one that's sitting on the bench. But it really is a testament to Herbert, their coaching staff, that they found a way to win games despite catastrophic injuries to really the most important position group on offense.
Now to the other quarterback in this game, certainly for the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. And, it's a third offense for him. We're halfway through his first season in this offense. And there's conversation this week with the head coach about telling him to let it rip a little bit more, maybe a little hesitancy in pushing it down the field. What's your view outside looking in of Trevor so far?
Well, listen, I think that with high expectations comes a high level of scrutiny. And if you are that guy, that quarterback, and you're paid as that guy, there's no question that you have to play better. And, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have had to learn different systems. And, I think that the scrutiny is correct. There should be a higher standard, and we should look at these quarterbacks with a higher standard. I will say this, as far as letting it rip goes, to me, the biggest hurdle that any player, regardless of position, has to learn is that concept. Because if you are second-guessing yourself, no matter what you play, if you're a linebacker on your reads or whatever it is, you just can't play. Guys are too good. You need to be confident in what you see. You have to be decisive in what you see. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but you can't play with fear of the result. You really do have to be in a place where you're not consciously making decisions, but your instincts are just telling you that it's there, and you have to trust it. If you never learn to trust it, and you're always second guessing, you never know what you're capable of. And so in those moments, when there is maybe that little bit of indecision, you're not going to be able to perform. So I just think it's a lesson, especially if you have some built-in scars and you've made some mistakes. That ability to get rid of those and just be able to go out there and play and trust what you see is to me one of the biggest priorities of any player. So quarterback, you have to make more decisions, and there's a lot of responsibility, but that's why they pay those guys.
No doubt. And then you got to make decisions and plays against Derwin James in this Chargers defense today. Let's just touch on James on the back end. And they're moving him all over the place. Yeah. He's done it for a long time at a high level.
He has. He's done it in a number of different defensive systems as well. What I love about Derwin James is it's hard to be good at everything. There's very few players that are good at everything. Most players have a special trait. They do something very well. And I think Pete Carroll used to call it they're uniquely talented in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of times when you try to be everything, you never are good at anything, right? But for Derwin James, he's a big safety who really, early in his career under Gus Bradley, really excelled in the box, really was a great box safety, was able to blitz. And then he started moving around, and then they started playing him at nickel, and they played him at free safety. He truly is one of the guys that can do it all and affect the game. It's not a situation where, James is in the deep middle, let's go attack him here. We got him out of position, or he's in the slot. This year, Jesse Minter is blitzing him more than he's ever blitzed before. And to me, even though he can do everything, that's where he's at his best. I think when you see Derwin James in the box or in the slot, you have to be aware because he has that ability to make plays, and he's just an excellent tackler. They're doing a great job with that secondary in general.
That's Adam Archuleta, NFL on CBS analyst for today's game and the next couple of weeks as well. The same crew will be with the Jags. The full conversation on the official Jaguars podcast network. Subscribe free wherever you download podcasts. Austen Lane, how about keys to a Jaguars victory at home today against the 7-3 LA Chargers, the Jags at 5-4.
Yeah, so when you're breaking down an opponent, you have to find tendencies. And here's a tendency with the Chargers. When they go to the East Coast, they get off to a slow start. They played in New York, they got beat. They played in Tennessee, close game. They played in Miami and only beat them by 2. So this team comes out slow when they're playing on the East Coast. If I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, I got to know that. Get off to a hot start. Put the ball in Travis Etienne's hands, but also sprinkle on a little Jacoby Myers and maybe, go deep every once in a while in that first quarter or so. And then also on the defensive side, obviously you're going to have your hands full in the secondary. This has to be the Josh Hines-Allen game. This has to be the Trayvon Walker game. You got to get home against tackles that you're better than.
There you have it. Keys to victory today, Austen Lane. Have a good one.
It's been a time and a half.
It certainly has. We'll talk on Monday night, tomorrow night. Jaguars Happy Hour. Austen Lane with us each and every week here on the Publix Tailgate Show. Plenty to get to. Inactives are due. We'll hear from Kai Stevens and John Ozier in the broadcast booth as well. An hour and a half from the 1 o'clock kickoff time in Week 11 for the Chargers and Jaguars. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
At GEHA, we stand behind our members because we were founded by members. We're not focused on Wall Street. We're focused on Main Street. So we've built dental plans with 100% coverage for in-network preventive care, with access to a nationwide network of nearly 600,000 provider locations. GEHA is proud to offer dental plans exclusively for federal employees, federal retirees, and military retirees. Visit GEHA.com to learn more.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA. To not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Rep Duval. Jags fan, introducing the Duval Fade, where safety means swagger. Crafted by a U.S. Navy submarine veteran, this isn't just safety gear, it's a statement built for fans who bring the heat. Whether you're grinding at work, hustling in the lab, or tailgating at the stadium, these frames are tough, light, and built to perform. Be prepared to rep Duval. Visit firstline-safety.store to grab your Duval Fade 2-pack now.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Brought to you by FDOT.
Ever see someone walking with a weighted pack around Jacksonville? That's rucking, with an R, moving with weight on your back. It builds strength, endurance, and crushes calories. After my wife and I served post 9/11, we started Go Ruck, a family business rooted in service and community, proud to call Jack's home. Go Ruck, built in Jacksonville, rucking everywhere in the world. Check out our gear at goruck.com. That's GORUCK.com.
It's almost basketball season. North Florida basketball is right around the corner. Secure your seats inside UNF Arena for both men's and women's basketball for less than $20 a game. Visit UNFospreys.com/buy tickets now or call 904-620-BIRD today. Again, North Florida basketball is almost here. Secure your seats inside UNF Arena for both men's and women's basketball for less than $20 a game. Visit UNFospreys.com/buy tickets now or call 904-620-BIRD today. Swoop.
JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios. The Publix Tailgate Show continues. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Chargers at 7-3, Jaguars 5-4. Week 11 game at Everbank Stadium with the kickoff time set for 1 o'clock. Today's game delivered by CSX. It is the Salute to Service game. Always a huge one here at the bank today, and a good matchup. Two teams battling for playoff spots. The Chargers at 7-3 competing in that AFC West. The Jaguars currently the 7 seed in the AFC playoff picture at 5-4. The Inactives are in. Here are the players down for the Jaguars today. Cornerback Jordan Lewis with a neck issue with the last couple weeks. Down again today. Brian Thomas Jr. still trying to fully come back from an ankle issue. He will not play in today's game, the Jags wide receiver. Cody Schrader, running back, inactive today. The right tackle, Anton Harrison, banged up last week, will not play today. Cole Van Lanen expected to start at right tackle today for the Jaguars. Tight end Hunter Long's been out for a couple weeks at least, and he's out again today. And Emmanuel Agba, defensive lineman, inactive for the Jaguars today. And the Jags did elevate Matt Dickerson, the defensive lineman, off the practice squad. Dickerson was undrafted in 2018 by the Titans and has been with the Titans, Raiders, Cardinals, Chiefs, Falcons, Chiefs again, Dolphins, and now the Jaguars in his career.
Yeah, they're looking for somebody that can provide a little rush off the bench, and we'll see if they find it today. For the Chargers, the inactives include safety Tony Jefferson, outside linebacker Kyle Kennard, a pair of offensive linemen Bobby Hart and Foster Sorrell, wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith, tight end Will Dissly, and defensive lineman Naquan Jones. Those are the 8 players. Make that 7 ineligible to play today for LA.
The inactives are in, and from the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power on board gives you the power of a mobile generator. Ford, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today. Let's head across the street to Everbank Stadium in the broadcast booth and welcome in Kainami Stevens and John Oehser as the Jaguars prepare to host the Chargers. First meeting between the teams since the 2022 wild card playoff game. The Wild comeback, of course, down 27-0. That's in the rear view. This is real life in front, and the windshield's bigger for a reason. Got to look forward now to this Chargers team that's really talented. The Jaguars banged up a little bit, but got to get something done here at home today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is real life, and it's real tough. I liked Austen Lane's analysis at the end about the quick start. What you wonder is with the injury list, Kai, the path to the quick start is a tough one for the Jaguars because there's just so many skill guys out. You're talking BTJ, Travis Hunter, Brenton Strange still. A lot of guys who they thought were their core coming in aren't there. I think the path is the same one they tried to take against Houston, which is early breaks, special teams, turnovers, and then hold on a little better. It's me. I'm usually the wide-eyed optimist.
Always.
But this is a tough matchup for a lot of reasons.
It's frustrating when we talk about last week because other than the fourth quarter, everything they did was exactly what you wanted to see. Right? So, yes, coming out early and getting it, not sneaking it, but getting a special teams touchdown, getting turnovers quick and early and giving extra possessions to the offense. That's exactly what they will need to do that, especially because short fields, we've seen the offense can excel in that area, but we don't know exactly what the offense is going to look like. They got to run the football, and they got to find a way to do that, and maybe more difficult than we thought without Brenton Strange, and then now without Anton Harrison, their starting right tackle. So it's not going to be easy to do that, whether you get maybe Etienne involved in the pass game a little bit as well. I feel like that's going to be the path to victory on offense is getting Etienne involved as much as you can.
All right, a lot of talk, guys, this week about the mindset of this team. Liam Cohen wants Trevor Lawrence to play more freely, let it rip. I heard he's been getting on some of his defensive players for not producing enough, which well-deserved. But you've been around the players this week several times. What do you think? Are they able to shake off the way that game ended last week and put it behind them and give their best performance today?
Yeah, I think they'll come out well. With a thing like that, I think the question is, Kai, if they get up and in the second half, in the NFL, when you get up, you usually give up some sort of a score. It usually tightens up once. Can they withstand that and not have last week seep in? I'm usually not big on that sort of thing carrying forward. I usually think these guys are pro athletes. But last week was tough. I mean, so I think we'll know. I don't know if we'll know today because I don't know if they'll get a lead against this team, But at some point, they're going to have to relive that situation and, have the fortitude or whatever it is to play through it. But I do think it's a concern because that was a scarring loss.
Yeah, and you don't want that to linger in the sense of, feels a little snake bitten. Like last year, it was like one thing went wrong and then it felt like the dominoes would go. So you don't want to get back into that kind of routine. I think what's tough when we talk about the pass rush, obviously we've been harping on it for quite some time. It's not getting home. The thing about this team is Justin Herbert gets sacked 5-6 times a game. They still win. Right. So, yes, we would like to see some more success in the pass rush, but that doesn't necessarily stop this team because he'll just stand in there and take it and then deliver a bomb anyway, even after, their 3rd and 20 or whatever. So while that needs to be a focus and it needs to be better, I don't know. You could get a great game out of them and still might not matter against a team like this that's so talented.
Yeah, I think the real key, get the pressure you guys were talking about, and when you get a turnover, you got to turn into points. You can't just get a turnover. You've got to figure out a way to get up on this team and take them out of their game, which is easier said than done because I think Herbert's the most underrated great quarterback in this league.
And it might be a team where you need to get touchdowns, too, because we saw last week they got turnovers and got field goals, and that wasn't going to cut it.
No doubt about that. Herbert, by the way, has been hit on an NFL-leading 89 dropbacks in 2025, 22
Crazy.
more times than the next highest quarterback, Cam Ward. So he's taking hits and still making plays. Number 1 in completions and attempts, number 2 in passing yards. I think he's 3rd in touchdowns, and he can run it, too, all that. Kainani Stevens, John Oehser with us. To that pass rush, though, I mean, what's left to try in the pass rush? They've tried with 4. Can't do that too consistently. They tried with 5. Do they bring some different looks? Do they, more Dennis Gardeck? Like, do they move some people inside and out? I mean, they're bringing up Matt Dickerson today. They're sitting down Ogba. That's one change, but is that enough? What do they do? What's left in the bag?
Well, look, they've tried rushing with 4 and they've tried blitzing. There's not a whole lot more records in the stack. So
right.
You got to be better. You have to be better, and you have to get home. And I wish I had a better answer, but there's only so many things you can try from a coaching perspective, and then at some point the guys have to get home. And I do think it's important to put out, they have had guys get pressure. They need more collective pressure. When you see a quarterback drop and he's able to avoid the first man, well, usually sacks aren't the only guy back there. Somebody else is cleaning up somebody else's rush. That hasn't happened enough for this team. And if you think back to last week, there were a couple instances where people were in the backfield were able to step away and get the ball out. There has to be more of a collective rush.
Yeah, it has to be more in sync because, as you're saying, one person will do well and then there's no one else to help out. So it's about being on the same page. At this point in the season, you're not going to trade anybody. You're not getting anybody new in. No one's coming to save the day. They have to save themselves. We will see some more of the young guys. Danny Sturgow and BJ Green are up now, obviously with Emmanuel Ogba not dressing today. So maybe you can get a little energy out of them in the middle. I mean, that might help. Or I don't know if they want to try to move Trayvon inside a little bit later.
They might see some of that. Yeah.
We've talked about that for years. I don't know if we'll see it. But as mentioned, there's not a ton you can do other than you've got to play better.
Yeah, and if you're not getting the pressure, at least if you can stick to them on the back end and cover guys, you give your time a little more time to the pass rush to get there. But, guys, we're looking at a situation where 4 players who might have been starters today are not going to play. Caleb Bransall hasn't played all year, but Travis Hunter, Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray, all gone. At some point, do they just not have the horses to cover well enough on the back end?
Well, there is a point of, you can overcome injuries in this league, but there is a breaking point at some point where a position gets too beat up. And, I think I wrote somewhere this week, if players didn't matter, you wouldn't draft and sign them. You would just have open tryouts on the street, right? So at some point, the talent matters. And I think to your point, Mike, they are depleted in the secondary, which usually you can get through a depleted secondary if you're getting pass rush. So, I'm not trying to be negative about the secondary, but they are down significant personnel even since a couple of weeks ago.
Not as angry about it as I was last year when I would get very upset when they'd give up big plays because I do feel it's very much injury related, but it is getting frustrating again because I remember last year I would get very frustrated with some of the safety play, and I feel like this year I'm having similar problems, and we haven't seen it to that degree yet, but sometimes you're just like, where are they going? What are they doing? And some of it's mismatch, some of it's not knowing where you need to be, and it's communication. So when you lose people on the back end, also just like really good communicators, like Jordan Lewis can line everybody up and kind of get everybody on the same page. You don't have that right now. I think that hurts them as well.
Hey, Mike, JP, here's a positive.
Yes.
Here's a positive.
Positive.
I know we're kind of down. The thing Austen mentioned, and the West Coast thing for the Chargers is a real thing. We didn't really see it against Seattle. Seattle's really good in that situation.
Very good.
But the West Coast thing can be a real thing coming over here. So just because our tone has been a little worrisome does not mean the Jaguars don't have a chance today. There are paths. They just have to take advantage of the opportunities when they're there.
Kainani Stevens, Jaguars reporter. John Oehser, Jaguars.com senior writer. Have a great day, and we'll hear you on Jags AM a little later this week.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hear them Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday on Jags. Yeah, and to Austin's point, yeah, they might start slow, but they actually finish pretty good in the East Coast games. They're 5-2 with a plus 66 point differential in road games in the Eastern time zone since Harbaugh became the head coach.
Look, you couldn't ask for a better fast start than the Jags had last week. They had a plenty fast start against a team that didn't have the weapons to pull that comeback off, at least that we thought. The Chargers get down a couple of scores in the first half. They're not going to panic. They've got the personnel to keep this a game. But John's right. This is the National Football League. It's not like the Jags have no chance to win this game today. Show up and, prove the doubters wrong.
We're closing in on Jaguars Radio Network coverage at high noon. We'll have countdown to kickoff. And up next, though, it's a fantasy forecast, and Frank Frangie joins us in the broadcast booth. The Chargers and the Jaguars with a 1 o'clock kickoff time in Week 11. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey, Jaguars fans, sack those snack cravings with Dippin' Dots, the original Beat It ice cream brand. Grab a cup of your favorite flavor or discover a new flavor from one of the Dippin' Dots locations right here at Everbank Stadium. Get ready to taste the fun with Dippin' Dots.
I want my Dippin' Dots.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
Ever see someone walking with a weighted pack around Jacksonville? That's rucking, with an R, moving with weight on your back. It builds strength, endurance, and crushes calories. After my wife and I served post 9/11, we started Go Ruck, a family business rooted in service and community, proud to call Jack's home. Go Ruck, built in Jacksonville, rucking everywhere in the world. Check out our gear at goruck.com. That's GORUCK.com.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. SMART. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
This season, the road to kickoff starts at Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars. From Bay Meadows to Arlington to Westside, Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram is locally owned and proud to serve the First Coast with real pricing and a lifetime powertrain warranty at no extra cost. And let's be honest, there's no vehicle better built for tailgating than a Jeep or a Ram. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, Bay Meadows, Arlington, and Westside. 3 locations, 1 legendary team.
This is the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios. The LA Chargers 7-3, the Jacksonville Jaguars 5-4. A 1 o'clock kickoff time at Everbank Stadium. Today's game is delivered by CSX, the Salute to Service Day at the bank. And we're closing in on Countdown to Kickoff on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida, the #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. Time now for a fantasy forecast, Mike Dempsey.
All right, I'm watching Riley Patterson kick one through the uprights, hoping that's good karma. The last time the Jags and the Chargers played, he was pretty impactful in that game. But anyway, that was an extra point for the Miami Dolphins. They've tied the Washington Commanders at 13 in the fourth quarter. Ollie Gordon with a 1-yard touchdown run, much to the chagrin of Devon Etienne. Managers everywhere. Etienne's got 11 carries for 61 yards on the day. Chris Rodriguez, the leading ball carrier in the game, 14 carries for the Commanders for 79 yards. He got the start today over Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Like he did last week, left that game due to an injury. Looks like the backfield has shifted in favor of Rodriguez. Now, Deebo Samuel with the Washington touchdown. He's got 5 catches for 49 yards. Jalen Waddle's caught 3 for 52. Tied at 13, 12:36 remaining in regulation in that one. Elsewhere, injuries. Well, there were a lot of questionable players, but a bunch of them got cleared in the 1 o'clock window. Drake London dealing with a back issue as well as an illness after playing overseas last week. He is up and good to go for the Atlanta Falcons. Drake London has played 2 games in the last 3 weeks. He's the number 1 receiver in fantasy football in that 3-week period, despite only playing twice in that period. He's been fantastic. Tampa Bay Bucks at Buffalo today. Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin had been ruled out fairly early in the week by the Bucks. Dalton Kincaid will not play, the tight end for the Buffalo Bills today. Houston at Tennessee. C.J. Stroud misses another game. Now, keep in mind, the Texans have a Thursday nighter against Buffalo coming up. He has yet to practice, still dealing with a concussion, so he may not have enough time to clear the protocol before the Texans' next game. Also out for Houston today, their kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn, will miss another game. Backup tight end Harrison Bryant is out. Calvin Ridley makes a return after a multi-game absence for the Tennessee Titans. Chicago at Minnesota. No one on the injury report to be concerned with, but reports are that quarterback J.J. McCarthy had a wrap on his right throwing hand in pregame warm-ups today. That's something to keep an eye on as he is active today and will play against the Bears in what's a pretty good matchup for the Vikings passing game. Green Bay at the New York Giants. Matthew Golden and Savion Williams had both been questionable in that wide receiver core for the Packers. Both of them are up today, so they've got a full complement of pass catchers. Former Jaguar kicker Brandon McManus was downgraded to doubtful yesterday. He is officially out for the day. Jackson Dart, Darius Slayton had been ruled out already for the New York Giants. Likewise in Pittsburgh for Cincinnati, Joe Burrow had been ruled out coming into this one. Joe Flacco gets another start. Burrow did return to practice this week, had his practice window opened up. He is targeting Thanksgiving Day against the Ravens for a return. Samaje Perine's not out, so it's going to be a heavy workload day for Chase Brown, you would expect. Quentin Johnston will play against the Jags, we found out when inactives came down. Brenton Strange and Brian Thomas not available for Jacksonville today. In the 4 o'clock window, Seattle at L.A., maybe the game of the day. Devontae Adams is questionable. He told Sean McVay early in the week that he plans on playing, and McVay basically rolled with that and said, yeah, I guess that's what Devontae says. But Adam Schefter reported this morning from ESPN that Adams is expected to go. That game kicking off in the late afternoon window. Torrey Horton's out for the Seahawks. For San Francisco at Arizona, Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, just had an appendectomy, of course, so we'll see if he's able to return next week when Arizona plays Jacksonville. Bam Knight questionable to play in that one. Brock Purdy returns. He will start for the 49ers over Mac Jones. Ricky Pearsall is also back and cleared to go. For Baltimore, no Rashad Bateman, no Justice Hill today. Casey at Denver, no Isaiah Pacheco for the Chiefs. J.K. Dobbins not only out, but had surgery that has been described as season-ending, placed on IR. It's a foot issue. Rookie R.J. Harvey will get the start. Sunday Night Football, Sam Laporta placed on IR, the tight end for Detroit. Their backup is Brock Wright, and he is also questionable for the game.
There you have it. Fantasy Forecast is in, and the Jaguars broadcast booth is presented by Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and remodeling company. Frank Frangie joining us from Everbank Stadium on a picture-perfect day for football here in Jacksonville. The Chargers and Jaguars meeting for the first time since the 2022 wildcard playoff game. That's in the past. The future is right now, Frank, and this is a game the Jaguars need to bounce back.
Yeah, it really is, and the reality is the league goes that way sometimes, JP. Good morning to you and Mike. And, yeah, I think a lot of times the team that's been struggling out of nowhere plays a very good game. I don't think the Jags have been that far off most of the time. The Rams game, yes, but other than that, I think the Jags have played 3 good quarters. They got to finish, and hopefully I think they'll play well today, JP. They got to finish, but I'd be surprised if they don't play well in the game today. I really would.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, Frank, about the Jaguars pass rush getting to Justin Herbert. What about the other way around? Will the Jaguar passing game have enough time to operate? No Anton Harrison today. The Chargers, maybe not as good defensively as Houston, but pretty good, particularly the ability to get after the quarterback. Is this a concern of yours today?
Mike, they're fourth in the league in overall defense, so obviously they're pretty good defensively. Last week, to your point, the Texans are the number one defense, but the Chargers are fourth, so they're right there. I would keep an eye on how quickly Trevor gets the ball out. One of the first things that Liam Cohen said in one of his media gatherings this week was just let it rip. I sometimes think my very uninvolved opinion of this is I think Trevor threw some interceptions early on, maybe even early on this year, Mike. Got a little gunshot and let it fly. And I think the whole let it rip thing means the ball's going to get out of his hands quicker. So I would look for that today. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some shorter routes, if there's some routes designed to get the ball out of Trevor's hands quickly. And if they do that, then I think the result will be far fewer problems with the pass rush. So look for that today. That's kind of my gut today, is you see the ball get out of his hands pretty quickly.
Frank Fangio with us, and now to the other side, Jaguars pass rush. Last in the league in sacks this year, but 3 of the top 5 salary caps on this team are on the defensive line, and 4 of the top 7. So a lot of money for not a lot of production. And even if they have production against Justin Herbert, he's been able to throw through it. So how do you attack him?
I think the biggest surprise, JP, to me, is the lack of pass rush from the Jags. I mean, you got Josh Allen, who is 2 years removed from a 17.5 sack season. You got Trayvon Walker coming off back-to-back 10 sack season. Now, look, he's been playing with the club. I get that. But I think that's what's of all the things that have happened in this Jaguars season, 9 games in, I think the thing that surprises me the most, JP, is the lack of a pass rush, because I think those 2 ends are pretty good. Now, the backup ends I'm not sure are great. I'm not sure the tackles have played great. But that surprises me. And, you got to find a pass rush, whether it's Dennis Gardeck rushing the passer more than he has in the past, whether it's the 2 young ends who are both going to be up playing more than they have in the past. But you got to do something. I think of all the things that have happened, and there's been some things when you've lost 4 games, the lack of a pass rush, particularly in the fourth quarter in some of these games, has been astounding to me. That's jumped off the page, JP, for me. It really has.
All right, a lot of challenges today, Frank, obviously, right? We've gone through them.
Right.
Give me something you feel good about that the Jags can get accomplished today.
I think the Jags like to run the ball, and I think you can run the ball a little bit on this Chargers defense. If there's one thing, they're 13th in the league against the run, but they're better against the pass. And I think you can run it some on them. I think the Jags have been a good running team. Ezra Cleveland's back. He's been playing very well when healthy. I think Patrick McCary is closer to full health. So I think you're going to run it a little bit. I'd be surprised, Mike, today if the Jaguars don't have a good game running the football, and that's critical for so many reasons. You talk about challenges. Well, number one, you keep the ball, so you don't have to cover those guys as often because they're not on the field as often. Number two, you're not dropping back there and getting hit as a quarterback, Trevor. So I think running the ball changes a lot. Look, that's what Liam Cohen wants to do. He said that when he got the job, right? And he proved it they came out of the gate the first 2 or 3 games, one of the best rushing teams in the league. So if there's one thing I feel good about and that I think is going to happen today, I think the Jags will run the ball well, particularly between the tackles today against the Chargers.
All right, Frank, have a good one today. Appreciate it.
All right, JP and Mike. Thank you, boys.
Frank Frangie joining us from the broadcast booth at Everbank Stadium. The Jaguars and the Chargers coming up in is Week 11 in the National Football League. Up next is Jaguars Radio Network coverage. Countdown to kickoff. Well, the top sound of the week, Fred Taylor's take, and the final word before kickoff with Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff time for the Chargers and Jaguars. And thanks for listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
It's game time.